Curious Kidcast, here we go. Ooh, yeah. Questions poppin', minds will blow. Big ideas, they're taking flight. Let's explore, feel the light. Why, what, where, and how? Big answers, we'll find them now. Curious minds, the world will comb. Ask away, let's bring it home.
Hey there, Curious Minds! Welcome back to the Curious Kidcast, where we answer the questions that make your brain do backflips. I'm Andy, and today we're talking about something absolutely mind-blowing. Birds that fly halfway across the planet just because it's getting a bit chilly. Now, this week's question comes from Priya in Seattle, Washington. And Priya asked this question because she noticed that the crows in her neighborhood never seemed to leave. But in the fall or autumn, her dad points out these huge flocks of geese flying overhead in perfect V-shapes. She wanted to know, what's the deal? Why do some birds pack their tiny suitcases and head south, while others just fluff up their feathers and stick around? Great question, Priya. And honestly, once you learn about bird migration, you'll never look at a robin the same way again. Trust me. Okay, so let's start with the big why. Why would any bird want to fly thousands of miles? I mean, I complain when I have to walk to the end of my street. Here's the thing. It's all about food. Imagine if every winter your favorite snacks just vanished. No chips, no cookies, no pizza, just gone. You'd probably consider moving too, right? Maybe to your friend's house where they still have snacks? For birds, when the cold weather arrives, the insects they love to munch on either die or hide underground. Plants stop making seeds and berries, ponds freeze over so water birds can't catch fish. Basically, the buffet is closed for the season. So these clever little guys fly to places where it's still warm and the food is still flowing. They're not really escaping the cold. They're chasing the lunch menu. It's like following the ice cream truck, except the ice cream truck is, the entire continent of Africa. Now you might be wondering, how do birds know when to leave? They don't have phones with calendar reminders that say, hey, time to fly 5,000 miles. Thing way cooler. They have nature's alarm clock built right into their little feathered bodies. As the days get shorter and the nights get longer, something changes inside them. Their brains start releasing special chemicals that make them feel what scientists call Sugunruhe. That's a German word that means migratory restlessness. Try saying that 5 times fast. When Sugunruhe kicks in, birds get super fidgety, especially at night. They start hopping around, flapping their wings, acting all restless like kids on the last day of school before summer vacation. And here's the wild part. They start eating everything in sight to fatten up for the journey. Some birds literally double their weight. Imagine eating so much that you became twice as heavy just to prepare for a really long car ride. Your parents would be like, maybe you've had enough chicken nuggets? All right, let's talk about real superstars of migration. The birds that make traveling across the country look like a trip to the corner shop. First up, the Arctic tern. These little overachievers fly from the Arctic all the way down to Antarctica and back again every single year. That's about 40,000 miles. To put that in perspective, that's like flying around the entire Earth. Twice, every year. These birds see more of the planet than most humans ever will. Then there's the bar-tailed godwit. One bird, nicknamed E7. Cool name, right? Flew 7,000 miles nonstop from Alaska to New Zealand. No bathroom breaks, no drive-through stops, just pure flying for over a week straight. And cute little swallows. Yeah, those tiny things fly from Europe all the way to southern Africa, crossing the Sahara Desert on the way. That's like a housefly deciding to fly across an entire country. Absolute legends. Now, most birds don't just flap their wings and zoom straight to their destination like they're on a nonstop flight. They take breaks. Lots of them. Birds follow special routes called flyways. These are like highways in the sky that follow coastlines, rivers, or mountains. And along these routes, there are special pit stops, kind of like rest areas on a motorway. but instead of questionable sandwiches, there are insects, seeds, and shellfish. Some of these stopover sites are super famous in the bird world. There's this place called the Wadden Sea in northern Europe where tens of thousands of birds gather to refuel. It's like a massive bird cafeteria. Table for 50,000, please. Okay, here's where things get seriously wild. How do birds know where they're going? They don't have Google Maps, they don't have road signs, they don't even have roads, but somehow birds can fly thousands of miles and end up exactly where they need to be. In Delaware Bay in the US, birds gorge themselves on horseshoe crab eggs. Yep, that's a thing. Not exactly pizza rolls, but hey, when you're flying thousands of miles, you can't be picky. Scientists think birds use a bunch of different tricks. Some use the sun during the day and the stars at night to navigate, like ancient sailors. Others have tiny magnetic crystals in their brains. Yes, actual magnets in their heads that help them sense the Earth's magnetic field. They basically have a built-in compass. How cool is that? They also use landmarks like rivers and coastlines, and some birds, like pigeons, can even use smell to find their way home. They're literally sniffing their way across continents. And get this. Baby birds that have never migrated before somehow just know which direction to fly. They're born with the map already downloaded in their brains. Meanwhile, I still get lost in my own neighborhood. So we've talked about the travelers, but what about the birds that stay put? Why don't they migrate? Well, some birds, like pigeons, crows, and magpies, can find food year-round. They're not picky eaters. Crows will eat pretty much anything. Seeds, insects, leftover chips from the park, your sandwich if you're not careful. They're like the ultimate survivors. Other birds are what we call partial migrants. That means some of them leave and some of them stay. It's like how some people in your class go away during school breaks and others just hang out at home. Everyone's got their own plan. And then there are birds that don't migrate far at all. They just move up or down mountains. When snow covers their food source at the top, they fly down to the valleys. Easy peasy, no need to cross an ocean. Now, I've got to be honest. Migration is incredible, but it's also super dangerous. Storms can blow birds off course. Imagine flying through a hurricane. Not fun. Predators like hawks are always on the lookout for tired, slow-moving migrants. It's like being chased when you're already exhausted from running. Then, there's the problem of city lights and tall buildings. Birds flying at night can get confused by all the lights and crash into windows or buildings. That's why scientists encourage people to turn off unnecessary lights during migration season. And worst of all, many of the wetlands and forests where birds used to stop and refuel are disappearing because humans keep building on them. Without those rest stops, it's like trying to drive across the country with no petrol stations. Despite all these dangers, millions of birds still make the journey every single year. Talk about determination. You've probably seen geese flying in that perfect V-shape and thought, that looks cool. Well, it's not just for style. It's science. When birds fly in a V-shape, each bird flies slightly behind and to the side of the one in front. This lets them catch the upward air currents created by the bird ahead of them. It's like drafting behind a cyclist. It makes flying way easier and saves energy. The bird at the front works the hardest, so they take turns leading. They're like, all right, mate, I've done my shift, you're up. Teamwork at its finest. Scientists even discovered that geese beat their wings in perfect rhythm to help each other. It's like a synchronized swimming routine, but in the sky, and with birds. Before we get to the quiz, let me hit you with some absolutely bonkers facts about bird migration. Some hummingbirds, those tiny little things that weigh about as much as a penny, fly non-stop across the Gulf of Mexico. That's over 500 miles of open water with nowhere to rest. Bar-headed geese fly over the Himalayas, reaching heights of over 29,000 feet. That's higher than Mount Everest. At that altitude, there's barely any oxygen, and these geese are just cruising along like it's nothing. The black-pole warbler weighs less than a golf ball and flies 3,000 miles across the Atlantic from Canada to South America. A bird smaller than your fist, flying across an entire ocean. Wild. And here's my favorite. Scientists have found that birds dream about migration while they sleep. They're literally practicing their routes in their dreams. So next time you dream about flying, maybe you're just channeling your inner bird. All right, you've learned a ton about bird migration, so let's see how much you remember. Quiz time. Get your thinking caps on. Question 1. Which bird has the longest migration in the world, traveling about 40,000 miles every year? Is it A, the Arctic tern, B, the emperor penguin, or C, the bald eagle? The answer is A, the Arctic tern. Those little legends fly from the Arctic to Antarctica and back every single year. Frequent flyer, miles for days. Question 2. What's the German word for the restless feeling birds get before migration? Is it A, Wanderlust, B, Sugenruhe, or C, Schnitzelfest? The answer is B, Sugenruhe. And yes, I made up Schnitzelfest, but it should totally be a real word. Question 3. Why do geese fly in a V formation? Is it A, to look cool, B, to save energy by catching air currents, or C, because they're following a leader who knows the way? The answer is B, to save energy by catching air currents. Though let's be honest, they do look pretty cool doing it. So what can you do to help these amazing traveling birds? Actually, quite a lot. Put out bird feeders with seeds in autumn and winter, grow plants that provide berries and attract insects. If you have a cat, try to keep it indoors during migration season. Birds are already exhausted from flying. They don't need a surprise attack. Turn off unnecessary lights at night, especially during migration season. This helps prevent birds from getting confused and crashing into buildings. And most importantly, just pay attention. Watch the skies. You might spot a bird that's traveled from another continent, and that's pretty special when you think about it. So there you have it, folks. Bird migration. One of the most incredible journeys in nature. Some birds fly across the entire planet chasing summer, while others just hunker down and tough it out through winter. Next time you see a flock flying overhead, give them a little nod of respect. They might be halfway through an epic adventure that connects continents and oceans. Huge thanks to Priya from Seattle for sending in this question. If you've got a question that's been bugging you, whether it's about space, animals, how things work, or why your brother is so annoying, head over to our website at CuriousKidcast.com and send it in. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with your friends and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of the Curious Kidcast. Stay curious, stay awesome, and keep those questions coming.
Hey!